Well, meanwhile, the United States, federal agencies there have today recommended a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine. This is after 6 women under the age of 50 developed blood clots after receiving the shot. Now, that decision, of course, comes several weeks after European regulators said that they'd found a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and rare blood clots. For more, let's talk to our Washington correspondent, Kethevane Gorjestani. Kethevane, tell us more about why the FDA has made this decision.
Well, the FDA just held a press conference to explain its decision to recommend that pause. Now, federal sites are obligated to pause that J&J vaccines, and they're recommending that states do the same on a local level. And they're saying that because they feel that out of an abundance of caution, they need to pause the administration of the J&J vaccines. But they insist that these special blood clots are extremely rare. 6 cases so far confirmed by the FDA. One person died from those blood clots. Another one is in critical condition, according to the FDA officials. But it seems through that press conference that what the FDA is more worried about is not necessarily the link between the J&J vaccine and that blood clot, but really the treatment of the blood clot. They repeated time and time again that the reason for this pause was to give time to healthcare providers to adapt their treatment to these specific blood clots, because they said that the standard of care usually used for blood clot could actually worsen the condition and could prove to be fatal in these specific cases of cerebral blood clots. So it looks like the FDA is being very cautious and trying to give time to hospitals and healthcare providers around the country to really get that information and to know how to treat these blood clots when they actually happen. They said that they're reviewing the situation and that it will take probably a few days. They want it to be done expeditiously, and they will give final guidelines probably within the coming days, maybe next week.
Do we know, Kethevane, how big of an impact this is likely to have on the vaccine rollout in the US, which has been, well, really quite fast compared to here in Europe?
Well, the White House came out with a statement very quickly saying that this pause would have no significant impact on their rollout plan. And the numbers really do support that statement from the White House, because the Johnson & Johnson vaccine so far, there were nearly 7 million doses of that vaccine that were administered so far in the United States out of 190 million doses administered. So it shows you that it is less than 5% of the vaccines administered around the country. And the rollout really of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines has been really increasing week after week. And so unlike in Europe, where the Europeans were really dependent mostly on that AstraZeneca vaccine, here in the United States, you have 2 other options that are continuing to be rolled out. That said, there might be a little bit of a slowdown in that fast pace, that acceleration of the rollout, because the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was used. All the people who had these appointments scheduled for J&J will have to rebook appointments for other vaccines. The other thing is that the J&J was supposed to be used mostly to reach harder to reach communities, people in more rural areas, because remember, the J&J vaccine is much more easily distributed because it doesn't need to be kept in those very, very cold temperatures. So that is probably going to slow down a little bit of the rollout in the US, but not necessarily going to derail anything here.
Kethevane Gorjestani for us there in Washington. Thank you very much indeed for your update. Well, India